Antinatalism, Part 2, A Philosophical Case Against Birth. The Ethics of Coming into Existence. Antinatalism is a provocative and deeply contemplative philosophical position that challenges one of humanity's most ingrained assumptions, that bringing new life into the world is inherently good. At its core, antinatalism asserts that coming into existence is a harm, an imposition of suffering, and that human beings should ethically refrain from procreation. Rooted in traditions of moral philosophy, existentialism, and pessimism, this outlook invites a radical re-evaluation of life's value, the ethics of parenthood, and the long-term consequences of perpetuating human existence. Philosophical lineage: Schopenhauer, Benatar, Zapffe. Arthur Schopenhauer, The Will to Suffer. The intellectual roots of antinatalism trace back to the 19th century with Arthur Schopenhauer, whose philosophy of pessimism laid crucial groundwork. In The World as Will and Representation, Schopenhauer portrayed life as an endless striving driven by insatiable desires, a cycle that inevitably leads to disappointment and suffering. Life is a constant process of dying, he wrote, underscoring his view that death is not an aberration but the natural culmination of existence. Even moments of pleasure, for Schopenhauer, are but brief intermissions in the more dominant experience of pain. He argued that human desire ensures a perpetual state of dissatisfaction, and thus, non-existence becomes preferable to a life steeped in suffering. David Benatar, Better Never to Have Been. A contemporary champion of antinatalism is South African philosopher David Benatar. In his influential 2006 book Better Never to Have Been, The Harm of Coming into Existence, Benatar offers what is now a central argument in antinatalist ethics, the asymmetry argument. According to this reasoning, while the presence of pain is bad and the presence of pleasure is good, the absence of pain, in the case of a person never born, is good, even if no one benefits from it, whereas the absence of pleasure is not bad unless someone exists to miss it. This asymmetry leads to the conclusion that bringing someone into existence is always a net harm. Benatar supports his position with real-world examples. From disease and poverty to environmental degradation, existence is rife with avoidable suffering. For him, the ethical path lies not in enduring these harms, but in preventing them through non-procreation. Peter Wessel Zapffe, Consciousness as Tragedy. Another significant figure is Norwegian philosopher Peter Wessel Zapffe, whose 1933 essay The Last Messiah offers a deeply existential lens on antinatalism. Zapffe argues that human consciousness, our capacity for self-awareness, foresight, and reflection, is a tragic evolutionary mistake. This advanced awareness gives rise to existential dread, the realization of life's inherent absurdity, and an acute sensitivity to suffering. To cope, humans employ 4 psychological defense mechanisms: isolation, which involves repressing disturbing thoughts; anchoring, the adoption of meaning-providing ideologies like religion; distraction, the use of entertainment or trivial tasks to avoid reflection; and sublimation, where suffering is transformed into art or intellectual exploration. These mechanisms, while offering temporary solace, ultimately underscore the depth of the human predicament, one that, Zapffe suggests, should not be perpetuated through birth. Philosophical foundations and contemporary relevance. Antinatalism is not an isolated doctrine, but is interwoven with several major philosophical traditions. It draws on existentialism, with its emphasis on individual freedom in a purposeless universe, pessimism, which highlights the inevitability of suffering, and utilitarian ethics, particularly in its concern for minimizing harm. From a utilitarian standpoint, the prevention of suffering through abstention from procreation emerges as a morally sound position. In contemporary society, antinatalism surfaces in various domains. It informs ethical debates around childbirth, particularly in a world confronting climate change, social injustice, and escalating global crises. In this view, to create life is to expose another sentient being to pain that could have been ethically avoided. It also resonates with environmentalist concerns over resource depletion and overpopulation, aligning the moral critique of procreation with practical sustainability. Additionally, antinatalism prompts deeper reflection on mental health and the psychological weight of existence, offering philosophical tools for grappling with anxiety, alienation, and despair. Critiques of antinatalism, between theory and reality. Despite its rigor, antinatalism is not without serious criticisms. Many argue that it overemphasizes suffering, ignoring the richness, joy, and beauty that life can offer. Philosopher Robert Nozick, in Anarchy, State, and Utopia, 1974, challenges this singular focus, asserting that the richness of human experience cannot be reduced to the avoidance of suffering. From the bond between parent and child to the pursuit of art, knowledge, and love, critics maintain that human life contains value beyond mere suffering. Another line of critique highlights biological determinism. The impulse to reproduce is deeply embedded in human biology and evolution. From this perspective, antinatalism appears not only counterintuitive but also unsustainable, as it conflicts with the fundamental drives that have ensured humanity's survival. Ethically, some scholars such as Christine Overall, author of Why Have Children?, criticize antinatalism for moral absolutism. They argue that it imposes a universal ethical standard on procreation without adequately accounting for cultural, social, or individual variations. The decision to have children, according to this view, cannot be judged solely through abstract ethical calculations. There are also practical implications to consider. If antinatalism were universally adopted, it would inevitably lead to the gradual extinction of humanity. While this might be consistent with antinatalist ethics, it raises uncomfortable questions about the value of culture, knowledge, and human achievement. Critics suggest that the theory, while intellectually rigorous, may falter when tested against the realities of human community, continuity, and care. Conclusion: a compassionate reframing of ethics. Antinatalism is not a nihilistic or misanthropic doctrine. Rather, it is a deeply compassionate philosophical stance that seeks to prevent suffering by questioning whether life itself is ever a gift or always a burden. Figures like Schopenhauer, Benatar, and Zapffe ask us to look beyond social conventions and biological imperatives, urging a sobering reflection on what it means to exist. The antinatalist view does not condemn those who choose to have children, but it invites us all to confront the ethics of that choice with honesty and gravity. As Benatar poignantly puts it, the harm of an existence is not a harm we can escape, but it is one we can prevent for future generations. In an age marked by global crises, environmental collapse, and profound inequality, antinatalism asks one of the most radical ethical questions of all: should we bring more life into a world we are failing to care for? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you appreciate the video and keep updated on our upcoming content.